What's up, my beautiful entrepreneurs? When you're making your body butter, there is a science to it and you want to make sure that you're getting it right every single time. In today's video, I'm going to discuss 4 mistakes that people typically make when making body butter and how you can avoid making these mistakes when you're making your formulations so that you can have the right recipe every time. Now, first up is going to be improper cooling. And this may not seem like a big deal, but when you're making your body butter and it hasn't cooled down properly, there are 2 major things that can happen. You can either not be able to whip it properly, or it may be too grainy to actually have a proper formula and body butter texture. Girl, when I just started making body butter, it was a struggle. I remember when I first made my first batch and I had just put in a lot of coconut oil. I put in a little bit of shea butter and a little bit of cocoa butter, and it just was not whipping. And I kept putting it in the fridge. I was putting it in the freezer and I was trying to whip it up, and it just would not create that whipping that butter feel in the body butter. I just couldn't get that consistency right, and I just kept putting it in the freezer and it wasn't working. And I realized that I just didn't have enough shea butter and enough cocoa butter in the formula in order for it to have that consistency to whip. So I added a little bit more of the shea butter and the cocoa butter to the formula so that I was able to get a whipped consistency. The thing with the formula is that if you have too much liquid oil, then it's not going to whip because it doesn't have that buttery consistency in order for you to get that whipped butter that you're looking for. So you're going to need the right ratio of the liquid oil and the shea butter and cocoa butter in order to have the right body butter consistency that we all know and love. Now, the next part is going to be the graininess of the body butter. I remember one time I was taking my body butter with me in my purse, and I had left the body butter in my car, and when I took it out, it was melted, and I let it cool back down. But when I looked inside, it was very grainy. The texture was completely off from when I had originally made it, and I tried to rub it in on my skin, but I could still feel that graininess, and it just did not feel good. And this just makes me think about the example of in the summertime when we're making our body butters and we're shipping them out to customers, when it's really hot and they receive the product. This is the same experience that they could be having, where it's melted and then they take it out, and they could take your recommendation and put it in the fridge or the freezer, but it's not going to be the same product that you originally made. And that's what you want them to experience, especially if this is a first time customer. You want them to experience your full authentic product. And if they receive it and they have to put it in the fridge and it's no longer that consistency, you may have lost a customer. So you want to make sure that you have a summer ready formula and a winter formula so that you can have the right product in the summertime that's of a thicker consistency and heat resistant. So make sure that you are considering that when you're making your body butters throughout the year. Are you even making your body butter during the summertime? Is that something that you completely opt out of, or are you still selling it right now? Now, the next problem that I see is greasiness. Now, this is a really big deal when it comes to body butter because you don't want it to be overly greasy. Now, with one of my products, I sell the eczema relief body butter, and that butter is very, very light. It's very fluffy, and it has like a lot of oil in that product because of the eczema benefits that it has. But that eczema body butter has like less than 80 degrees melting point. So it's really no point of me even trying to sell that in the summertime, because by the time they get the product, it's going to be melted and it's not going to be the product that I want them to get. So I just take that completely out of my lineup. But when it comes to the greasiness, I would say that you want to make sure that you're adding either arrowroot, or you could be adding cornstarch to your formula, and you only need about 1% of that in your formula, but you can add more depending on what it is you want your texture to be. But I find that the arrowroot and the cornstarch, they add a nice powdery finish to the body butter, makes it easily absorbed into the skin, and it just has a lot of other benefits to it as well. So arrowroot or cornstarch would be an excellent addition to get rid of oiliness. And if you're interested in using arrowroot or cornstarch, I'll have a link down below for you so that you'll be able to check that out so you can add it to your formulas. Now, the next thing up is going to be improper measurements. And you guys, this is a huge deal when it comes to making your formulas. When I was just started out making my body butter, I was just kind of putting the ingredients together and just making a body butter for myself because it was really helping me with my dry skin, eczema, acne on my skin. So it really helped me out. So I was just adding whatever. But as I wanted to get get more serious about actually making more and having actual formula, I was looking up online and I just realized that so many people were just having recipes of a cup of shea butter, a cup of cocoon butter, a cup of whatever, and drops of essential oil and a drop of fragrance and a teaspoon of avocado oil or whatever the case was. And it just wasn't a precise and exact measured formula. And when you're making your formula, you want to make sure that the measurements are precise. You want to have percentages and the right amount in ounces or grams of your formula. And that's why you really want to have scales. And I have this scientific scale that gets for like my glycerin or essential oils is perfect to get the exact measurement, along with this larger scale for my bigger products, as far as the shea butter, cocoon butter that I'm using. That gets you the exact measurement every single time. So you want to make sure that you have a scale that's able to do that for you. And I'll have those linked down below if you're interested. But when you're making your body butter, you just want to make sure that you have those exact measurements. And I was thinking about making a video about making a formula with percentages and creating an Excel sheet. So if that's something you're interested in, comment down below, put a purple heart down in the comment section so I know that you're interested in that video, and I'll get that right out. Also, another reason why it was really important for me to get an actual formula, because when I was making my body butters before, I was getting like a grainy consistency. It was too oily. All of my body butters that I made were different kind of every single time because I didn't have an exact measurement. So you want to make sure that your measurements are precise every single time, because especially if you're trying to make these products to sell, you want to have consistency. Consistency creates happy customers, and we all want happy customers, so make sure you have a consistent formula. So now we know how to avoid some mistakes when making our body butter. But if you're trying to figure out how to scent your body butter, click on this video here where I'll describe the difference between essential oils and fragrance oils so that you can scent your products properly.